Hi guys, and welcome to another Brushmaster video. Sorry about the clickbait title, but this is, well, there's two little tips I'm going to show you here. But the first one is, I think, the greatest tip there is for miniature painters. And it's one of those things that's so obvious. If you know it, you're going to look at this video and go, well, I do all that all the time. What's he talking about? But lately, I've discovered more and more people don't actually know this, and especially through my streaming and Discord channels, people are commenting to me a lot, and when I tell them this, they are blown away with it. They're just like, oh my god, I've gone away and tried it, it's so much better, oh blah 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 blah. And it also dispels a myth which you hear a lot in miniature painting when you watch miniature painting videos. And that is when you hear painters saying, I'm not thinning this paint down at all, it's straight out the bottle. Now that statement itself is partly true and it's partly not true, and I'm going to show you for why. So this is what a lot of people do. Okay, so they get their brush, they dry it off, it's nice and dry, and they dip the brush in the paint, and then they start painting. And it's going on okay, but it's quite thick. This is straight out the bottle, this is burnt red. Okay, but as you can see, it's drying up. Right, so the tip I'm going to show you today is what I do on every time I go back to my paint. Now, you can already see this is a bit liney and a bit lumpy. I'm using one of the Brushmaster plinths for this. So these are available on my Discord for free. Now, what the tip is, it's always keeping your brush moist. Now, I know you hear that, but a lot of people don't understand what that really means. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So here is my wet palette. Here is my sponge, so I cut my paper so I leave a gap all the way around. Now every time I go to the palette, I wet my brush and I literally just tap it to get the water off, most of the water. And then I go to the paint. And what this gives me is really smooth, thin paint. And I can paint with this for quite a while, and as you can see, it's beautifully flowing from the brush. I can keep painting and painting, and as the paint wears off, I'm left with just the water. So I can then start using what I've got left as a glaze. As you can see, it's getting thinner and thinner. Now, this little bit of a misdemeanor I was telling you about is, this is what painters mean when they're saying, I'm not thinning my paints, I'm painting it straight out of the bottle. They actually are thinning their paints, but they're doing it per brush stroke. So I'll show you once again. So if I just wick the water off gently, that brush is moist and got lots of water in it. So when I pick up paint, it's naturally going to thin it a bit. As you can see, you can get really nice flow and you get really nice control when you pick up paint this way. And I know what's going to happen. All you people in the comments are going to say, oh, I've always done that, I know that. Yeah, I know. There's plenty of people who don't know this tip. Now, as you can see, for a long time, I can paint really nice thin lines. It's still got paint in the brush, and that is neat paint. It's not thinned. That is literally straight out the pot. So when people are saying they're not thinning their paints, it's probably not 100% true. You know, I paint a lot like this. I do thin my paints as well for different things. But as you can see, I'm still going. That's that same brush load full of paint. Now, if I'd have dried my brush like I did the first time here, there is no way my paint would have lasted this long. See, I'm still going. This is the same bit of paint, and I didn't overly load my brush. I'm purely being able to do this because my brush was moist. And this is what people mean and painters mean when they say use a moist brush, keep your brush moist. So if you already know this and I'm wasting your time, I apologise. There is one more tip. Okay. And this one's come up as well on my stream quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spread that paint out a bit. So another thing that people have talked to me about is overloading the brush. And I've noticed this a lot with what people do. I used to do this myself and I just had to work it out. But when you load your brush, what I see a lot of people doing is loading their brush like this, and then they're having to wick all the paint off, and then it's either drying very quickly or they've still got too much paint on their brush sometimes, right? But there is a way around this, what you'll see a lot of brush artists do. And one of the reasons for it is, if I can get it on the right angle, it's when people are loading their brush. So people are coming in to load their brush and they've got the brush at this angle and they rub it in the paint like this, and they're actually loading paint like 3/4 of the way up the body, and that paint is going to suck up into all the bristles, and then you've got lots and lots of paint on your brush. Now what I do when I'm painting, certainly with smaller items, smaller parts on a model, I load my brush like this. I still drag it, make a point, but I keep the brush more upright. So when I'm loading the brush now to paint smaller bits, I keep my brush upright, drag it through the paint, and then I've got very little on the brush. And I don't even have to wick the paint off the brush. As you can see here, I can paint nice thin little lines. And there's plenty of paint on there. You can see how long it's lasting because I made sure my brush was moist. Now if I do that when I'm painting bigger areas of a model, I may very well do it this way. Like I just said, when I want to get bigger coverage, more area, etc. Then I want more paint in my brush and I want the brush loaded, but still with a moist brush. You can see there I can put on really nice big thick coats. So 2 little tips in one there, guys, and I'm sorry if you're already aware of this, but as you can see how long I can make a brush full of paint, a very small brush full of paint last, just by using these 2 tips. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that and got something out of it, and I'll see you next time for a Brushmaster video.